Alafia, and welcome to the Iyanifa blog. Those familiar with the work of the Iyanifa Foundation over the last 35 years are intimately aware and acquainted with the reality that the Foundation has always been an exponent, a strong proponent of the use of technology, not only to enhance our everyday lives, but we were one of the first that pointed out that technology had the ability to enhance our spiritual lives as well as our emotional experiences as well. And so it may come as somewhat of a surprise that the subject of this blog is my total repugnance and amazement at the new or the newest social networking system, Twitter. When I was a young man, albeit a lot of years ago, we used the word twit to describe a foolish, silly individual, somebody who is not, to be given any serious consideration or attention. And I checked in the dictionaries online to see if, indeed, in the 60 plus years that had passed since I was using that word for the first time, whether the definition or the understanding had changed significantly. And indeed, the first two definitions in most of the dictionaries that I looked at were one, to ridicule, and two, a fool, or someone foolish. And this is indeed an apt description of the foundation of this Twitter social networking. Twitter is designed as a way of allowing individuals to feel involved, while in reality preventing them from being involved. It is the ultimate distraction. It is worse than getting in your car and immediately turning on the radio, or coming into your home and immediately switching on the TV, or running to check your email. It is a technological high water tsunami of surface thinking, of distraction, and of refusal or inability to focus, concentrate, analyze, integrate life's experiences, both positive and negative. When I saw last Sunday on several of the network newscasts their encouragement for you to Twitter your comments to them, I was even more repulsed. Their interest, of course, is ratings. And those ratings have increasingly been dependent upon catering information in the simplest, shortest fashion to what they perceive is the attention span of a nation emotionally akin to a 5-year-old who must go from one toy to the next toy to the next distraction and has a total inability to focus, concentrate, and reach reasonable conclusions. By the way, if you're wondering why Twitter cannot possibly work, it's because you're limited to 160 characters, letters, and numbers. How many words is that? Well, if you have a reasonable vocabulary, it's probably 15 or 20. If you have a limited vocabulary and use a lot of monosyllabic words, it might be 25 or 30. But certainly, it would be very difficult to get into an in-depth analysis, commentary, or understanding of any subject in 160 characters. It is limited to surface thinking and communication. Do you believe that you could honestly have spent some serious, quiet, introspective time thinking about your life and still made the kinds of decisions that have taken this country and indeed the Western world to the brink of financial disaster, affecting not only ourselves but our children and grandchildren? Could you possibly have given serious thought and reached the conclusion that you should purchase a home significantly more expensive than you could afford simply because they were promising you low rates for a year or two until they adjusted? Oh, they wouldn't adjust upward, would they? Could you seriously have run up the credit card debt, purchasing toys you had to have at that moment in time? If you had spent some serious, thoughtful, introspective time, internal discussion, and analysis of how it would impact you, your family, your children, your grandchildren? The answer, of course, is no. And the answer is we lived in a nation that twittered their lives, savings, and future away. My wife and I were discussing whatever happened to layaway. When I was a kid, people saw something they wanted, couldn't afford immediately, and asked the store to put it aside for them while they made payments until the payments could pay for the item. Our young nephew recently went into a store and saw something and saw that they offered layaway and said he'd like to do that. And after filling out the papers and the rest of it and setting aside what he wanted, he said, "You mean I don't take that home? I can't have it now?" Well, the point is we can't have everything now. There's such a thing as earning. Earning not only in terms of monetary, but in terms of good character, in terms of awareness and growth. It's a process. It's indeed why offshoots of the philosophy of Vassa, the ancient African philosophy that we teach, attract so many people. Because these offshoots promise to twitter you through growth. They promise instantaneous gratification, magical changes in your life. Well, there are magical changes in your life, but you won't find them through twittering, and you won't find them through refusal to spend some quiet, introspective time focusing, analyzing, understanding. That's what Iyanifa is about. It's not what Twitter's about. As I said earlier, fortunately or unfortunately, Twitter is for twits. Until next time, love and blessings.